My name is Tom Heinold. I am actually the past owner and CEO of Pioneer Cladding and Glazing, which specialized in exterior glass facades for commercial buildings. Uh, that's my industry. As far as Ackerman goes, I've been involved with the Ackerman Group since the beginning. So I have a lot of history with them.
Go ahead.
Well, to be honest, actually, my mother partnered with Dobbs's father on the first apartment complex that he ever built. So it really goes back to, as I said at the beginning, uh, even pre-Dobbs. I remember when Dobbs was running around diapers. So, uh, my mother invested with him and it worked out well for him. And when Dobbs took over and decided to grow the whole portfolio. At that point, I had been assigned the general manager of our family limited partnership, and he came to me and said, we need to liquidate these early complexes and we need to diversify the equity that we have in them. And I guess that goes all the way back to the era of Ackerman Group and moving forward. So we were part of the beginning of all that, managing our family limited partnership. I continued to invest. At what point I started investing myself, I'm really not sure. It had to be at least 10 to 12 years ago. And I actually have invested through multiple avenues in some of the same complexes. So I've invested through my IRA, I've invested personally. When I owned Pioneer, my partner and I started Pioneer Real Estate, and we rented our building back to the company. And then as we slowly made the profits there, we put it in Ackerman Group moving forward. So as I said, I've invested from a lot of different angles with Ackerman. Well, first off, I use professional. They're all very professional. I've watched the whole group grow, the whole executive team grow. I've been highly impressed with every one of them. I love the due diligence they do when they're looking at new properties. They don't sway away from their strategies, which is, very good if people want a long-term track record with somebody. So, overall, it's just been a wonderful experience. Well, their communication's top of the notch. I mean, I've watched that grow too through the years and how they've advanced that and from paper statements to the Juniper website to video conferences quarterly, sometimes some individual ones. If something comes up, they've always been honest and straightforward. And when someone's honest and trust or forward with you all the time, then you can trust them.
Excellent.
So, well, I can tell you that since the beginning, it's outpaced any of my investments that were in markets and things like that. There's always been consistent returns. There's been great IRRs on the few that have been sold over the years. And it's, the fact that you're getting distributions quarterly is another great thing. And then you have the tax advantage from depreciation. So, it's by far the best avenue I've ever invested in. I do have investments in industrial properties, but quite honestly, I'm young in the industrial world, so I'm waiting for some of that to really start maturing, which is coming very soon. So, I actually, before I got into some of the industrial funds, I talked to Dobbs and found out that Dobbs actually was in a couple of them himself too. And it's like, one of them was through a friend of mine that at one time worked for Al Nair, and he worked for STNL, and I'm meeting with him and their treasurer, and he's starting to go through the whole thing. And I'm like, this is just like what I invest with Ackerman in apartments. And he was like, oh, Dobbs and TJ? I said, yeah. I said, well, then we don't need to really talk about this anymore. I said, well, we don't really need to talk about this anymore because I know the due diligence process they use. And if they're in it, I'm in it. So, but as I said, I'm early in that. But, of all the years of the Ackerman Group, and even prior to that, as my history showed, I've been highly impressed with the whole organization and the returns that we've earned over the years.